All right, today we're going to talk about something really interesting. There's this movement that takes a really painful piece of American history and just completely flips it on its head. It's called the Five-Thirds movement, and it's all about this new equation for unity. So let's dive right in. And really, this tagline says it all, doesn't it? A movement for inclusion and racial harmony. This is their North Star. It's the guiding principle for, well, for everything they do. And it really sets the stage for how they're trying to tackle some of the toughest issues we're all facing. So, you might be wondering, where did this even come from? Well, it was born as a direct response to a couple of things its founders were seeing: a serious rise in division, and what they felt was the erasure of African American history. So, this movement was created to push back, to counter that intolerance head on. Okay, so it started as a response, but it's not just about fighting against something negative. It's really about building something positive to take its place. So let's take a look at how they actually frame this call for unity. They actually describe themselves as a beacon of unity and progress. And their goal? To create a society where every single American feels valued, respected, and empowered. I mean, that's a pretty bold vision for the future, right? And a deeply inclusive one. And this is key. See that phrase, greater than? That's not just some random choice of words. It's absolutely central to their whole identity. The entire philosophy is that you overcome division by being, well, by being bigger than it. Fundamentally, mathematically, and morally larger. So, that greater than idea, that brings us right to the name of the movement itself. Because to really get the five-thirds, you first have to understand the ugly historical fraction it's flipping upside down. This is where the past and the present really crash into each other. This right here just lays it all out. Okay, look to the left, 1787. The Three-Fifths Compromise. You've probably heard of it, but what was it? It was a clause in the U.S. Constitution, and it basically said that for things like political representation and taxes, an enslaved person would only be counted as three-fifths of a free person. It was a brutal, dehumanizing piece of political math that wrote inequality right into the country's DNA. Now, look to the right. The Five-Thirds movement. It takes that exact same equation of dehumanization and just inverts it, turning it into this incredible symbol of empowerment. And think about the fraction itself for a second. 5/3, 5/3. It's an improper fraction. It's a number that's greater than one whole. And that is 100% intentional. It is so powerful. It's basically a mathematical and a moral comeback to this historical injustice. It's saying, no, unity is greater than division, and a whole person is always greater than a fraction. So to put it all together, what is the Five-Thirds? It's this core idea that the collective power of all the people who choose love and unity and inclusion, that power is just inherently, mathematically greater than the forces of hate and division. And it's an invitation, really, a call for everyone to be a part of that greater than side of the equation. Okay, so that's the big idea, the concept. But a concept is one thing. How do you actually put it into action? Well, the movement is guided by four core principles. Think of them as the pillars that hold up everything they do. So here they are. First up, you've got racial inclusion and unity. Makes sense, right? It's the direct antidote to the division they're trying to fight. Then there's historical preservation and truth, because let's be real, you can't build a better future if you're not honest about the past. Third is protection and advocacy. The idea here is that true unity means you've got to actively protect the most vulnerable people in society. And finally, number 4, civic engagement and leadership, because real, lasting change comes from people getting involved and participating in our democracy. So those are the principles. That's the foundation. Now, how do they actually put these values into practice? Let's take a look at the platforms they use to make change happen. At its core, this whole thing is powered by community. And what's the engine that drives that community? It's dialogue. It's all about creating spaces where people can actually connect, learn from each other, and then organize around the values they all share. Their online discussion board is a perfect example. It's built around 4 main themes. And check out the progression here. It's pretty smart. It starts with education and awareness. Then it moves into personal responsibility with things like fatherhood and legacy. From there, it scales up to community action, and then finally, the big picture. Advocacy and policy reform. See that? It's a really deliberate path, from learning as an individual to making an impact as a group. And it's not just online forums either. They've got a podcast called Let's Parlay, where they bring in experts and other interesting folks to talk about these really important issues. Oh, and they also have a whole line of merch, so you can literally wear your values on your sleeve and help spread that message of unity just by walking around. So, when you look at all these things, the forums, the podcasts, the merch, they're all just tools, right? They're tools for a much, much bigger idea. The Five Thirds movement is really more than just an organization. What they're doing is proposing a whole new standard, a new way to measure ourself and our society.
And this quote from them just nails it. This is not just a response. It's a movement, a mindset. That says it all. It's not about being reactive. It's about proactively building a whole new way of thinking, a mindset that's based on that simple but really profound idea of being greater than hate.
So, in the end, the Five Thirds movement leaves us all with a really powerful question. And it's not just for society as a whole, it's for each one of us individually. What does it mean for you to be part of that greater than equation today?